All right, cue.
On April 8th, 2024, a celestial spectacle is coming. A rare event that will captivate the world. The universe will experience a mesmerizing dance of light and shadow during a once-in-a-lifetime total solar eclipse. This may be a worldwide event, but Killeen, Texas will have a front row seat to this awe-inspiring phenomenon. Millions will gaze and many will gather to witness this grand spectacle, a breathtaking show. Mark your calendars for this ultimate cosmic adventure.
All right, thank you, lights. All right, so as you can see, we are in for a phenomenal event, and it's set to happen in just 126 days. Good evening, I'm Janelle Ford. I'm the Executive Director of Communications for the City of Killeen, and we are joined by several different entities here, including our Director of Homeland Security and Emergency Management, and that is Mr. Peter Perez. Where is Peter? Oh, there he is. Let's give him a round of applause because Peter started doing meetings almost 2 whole years ago on this. So I think it was February 2022 when we had our first meeting about an eclipse that is not until 2024. So the City of Killeen has been far ahead when it comes to preparedness and making sure that we are planning, and we want to make sure to pass on that information to all of these citizens. So we had our first press conference last year, November, and even then we said it's going to be here before you know it. That was 500 days out. So we're even closer now. So we have been working with several community partners. That includes, of course, KISD, Fort Cavazos, all 3 chambers, the Greater Chamber, the Innovation Black Chamber, and our Hispanic Chamber. And we have worked with Central Texas College. They will be up here with all the exciting news that they have in a moment. Texas A&M as well. So we will have our Mayborn Science Center come up in a moment. But we're going to get through a few of our city events and preparedness things first. So on April 8th, 2024, make sure I have this on. We're going to have a solar eclipse, and it's going to happen at 1:36. It's going to be for 4 minutes and 16 seconds. It's one of the longest time frames in our state because we are in a prime location. This is what happens during a solar eclipse. The moon starts to move in front of the sun. The sun is then completely covered by the moon, and then the sun begins to reemerge. This is what it will look like, and that is the path, just so you guys can get a visual of that. So the last total solar eclipse was in 2017. It was not in we were not in the direct path of totality. Before 2017, it had been 38 years since a total solar eclipse occurred in our area. And the next one is not planned to occur for about 20 years, and even that one is not going to be right in our great state of Texas. So we are very fortunate right now, and I'm going to let the experts talk about that and dive a little bit more into that. But as I've mentioned, we've partnered with CTC and the Mayborn Science Theater and Planetarium, the only planetarium within more than a 60-mile radius. So we are very fortunate to have them. They have some educational and information that they're going to give out, but also just a lot of plain old fun that they're going to have with information and activities. So we are looking forward to that. We are recording this. This is not live stream, but it is recorded. So we will be able to view this afterwards. It will be on our YouTube channel and our social media pages as well. So just so you guys know, at the end, we will have questions. We'll have people come to the front with those questions. But first, I am going to bring up our Director of Homeland Security and Emergency Management, Mr. Peter Perez. And one quick note, our population is 160,000 people. It is projected that it will double, so that's more than 300,000 people over that weekend, because it's not just April 8th we're talking about the days leading up to that as well. So just keep that in mind as we're talking about preparedness, and I'm going to bring up Mr. Peter Perez now. Thank you.
All right, good evening, everybody. How are y'all? Awesome. Thank y'all for being with us here tonight. So, as we've been meeting for a little over 2 years now, and the good thing is, City of Killeen staff, we haven't just been meeting with ourselves or our partners or in this area. We've actually been reaching out all over the country to other areas that experienced this in 2017, trying to find areas our size to see what did they experience, what would have, afterwards, what would they have wished they had planned for, so that we can have that insight now. So because of that, here are a few things that we have learned so far. So number one, as Ms. Janelle Ford said, we are expecting our population to, at minimum, double. So obviously, that's going to be a lot of people in this area. So traffic impacts are one of the number one things we're going to expect to see. We expect to see traffic congestion on their larger roads, such as Interstate 14, W.S. Young, Clear Creek, and Tremere, to be very congested on those roads because those are large arterial roads. And if you think about anybody out of town that comes and visits this area, GPS normally takes them wherever they need to go on those roads. So your neighborhood roads, where the community members know, those are not expected to be as congested. So one of the things we're asking is to make sure that you are planning ahead. My entire talk will be about you planning ahead. So April 8th, 2024 is when this is expected to occur. So you want to make sure that you fill up your gas tank, not that morning, not the night before. You probably want to fill up your gas tank at least the Thursday before. I know gas doesn't always last as long. So at least the Thursday before, if you fill your tank up and depending on how much you drive, you should be good at least to get through till Tuesday. That is the plan that we are suggesting folks make, right? So you will most likely have to sit in traffic for a little bit longer. That will be an inconvenience we may have. The other part is to avoid any roads that are around large events that might be happening that day. So you might hear later on today about some events happening in the city. So roads that are around there, if you are not going to go and partake in the event, try to avoid those roads so that you're not stuck in the inconvenience traffic. The next thing is what we're calling gas, groceries, and essentials. So we're expecting this really to be like any normal busy holiday weekend, okay? So if you imagine the type of crowds you see at H-E-B and Walmart around Thanksgiving or around Christmas, expect to see those types of crowds in the grocery stores for that weekend, most likely starting Friday up until that Monday. So make sure you do your grocery shopping. If you can do your grocery shopping a week before and just get a few extra items to last you a couple more days, a few extra freezer or non-perishable food items to last you a couple of days till that Tuesday or Wednesday, then you won't have to go and deal with that headache of all the people at the stores, okay? We also, like we've said, we are expecting the population to double, and we're going to kind of hit that just a couple more times so that you all are understanding what, if right now we're about 160,000 people, over 250,000 of that is a lot of people in this area. So next we want to talk about our communication devices, our wireless networks, cellular networks. So we're not expecting any of that. We've been in talks with all of our cellular networks, and it's not going to crash. However, they do expect that it's going to be congested. There's going to be more people than normal in this area using those devices. So remember the phrase, text if you can, call if you must. Right? And so our Bell County 911 Center is great. They are text enabled. So if you are having an emergency that is not life-threatening, you can text to 911, and there is a 911 operator on the other end that is answering your text and is able to dispatch that. That way you don't have to make the phone call. Things like video phone calls, certain apps that do live video streaming, those are going to take more of the cellular network bandwidth. So the more of those, the more people that are using those at the same time, it's going to further congest the network and is going to further slow everything down. So we do expect you to be prepared for that. Some folks may not know, but sometimes your at-home internet provider is based off the cellular network. So if your at-home internet service provider is from a cellular network, you are not hardlined into the internet. It might be in your house, but at some point it goes somewhere else, and then it's getting that from the cellular network. So you can expect that service as well to be congested throughout the weekend while people are here. So 911 calls will be answered and prioritized for services normal, as they always are, but we just ask that you please understand that with the increase in traffic, it might take a little longer for those first responder units to get to you from wherever they are. Luckily, they have lights and sirens, and they are going to try their best to get there, but they want to get to you safely so that then they can assist you as much as possible. Next, we want to spend some time talking about business preparedness. So we have a lot of great businesses here in the city of Killeen, and we want to make sure that you are prepared to take advantage of the influx of visitors to our city to show off how well prepared we can be and how great customer service we have to anybody that wants to come visit. Earlier this year, we held 2 business town halls, and I think the Innovative Black Chamber also held a town hall. Just a couple of months ago, in fact. And so we again urge our businesses to prepare for the increase in population because people are going to want their services, right? If you're a restaurant, if you are a little boutique, people are going to want to come and they're going to want to see what you have for sale. Or if you're a restaurant, of course, people are going to want to eat. So we're asking you to make sure that you stock up. Use your forecasting systems that you have as a business to see what a normal average day is, and maybe compare that to a holiday weekend or a special shopping weekend, and maybe prepare for that special shopping weekend type of event instead. Online ordering systems will be very essential that day. The easier you can make it for those visiting our area to place an order with your business, the more likely you are to get their business, right? So if you have curbside pickup, that might be great. If you have some sort of online ordering system where it's easy for them to go and place their order with you, it's just going to draw them to you even more. The other thing we want business owners to consider are your business hours or employee hours. So just due to the time of traffic, we are expecting traffic to increase. And so that might take longer for your employees to get to work. So you might need to relook at how you have your employees' time staggered, or you might need to restagger those around different times so that you try to avoid the largest impact. So obviously everybody's going to be wherever they want to be to view this before it starts. And what time does it start again? Just like, what? Thank you. Sorry, I forgot the time. It starts at 1:36. So if you're able to ensure that your staff are to your location by 11 a.m. and maybe you stagger that shift to like 3 p.m. or 4 p.m., that may help so that that staff isn't having to leave right when the event's over, because right when the event's over is also most likely when all the visitors are looking to leave as well and get on to their next location. Maybe they have to get back home and go back to work as well. So you'll have to do that. So next we want to talk a little bit about overall eye safety. So you'll notice here that for everybody who attended, and thank you for coming, you get a pair of solar glasses. So we want to make sure that if you go out and purchase these, that you make sure that they are ISO 12312-2 safety compliant. And you'll actually notice that on the solar glasses, and wherever you buy yours, they should state that on there. They should state that they are compliant with that standard because that is the standard needed. There are other ways that you can view a solar eclipse. There are some homemade ways. There are welding shields, things of that sort, but there are a lot of different requirements to those. So we really suggest that you reach out to our amazing in-town experts at the Central Texas College Planetarium, and that they will most likely be able to help you navigate those other non-traditional ways of viewing the solar eclipse. The biggest thing is we want you to be safe. So please make sure that you teach yourself, your kids, your friends and family that it is never okay to stare directly at the sun. We do not want you staring directly at the sun, okay? Once you have the glasses on, then these provide for you that protection that you need in order to view this event. Lastly, the city of Killeen is trying our best to prepare as much as possible. In order to do that, we actually need all of you, our community and business members and community organizations, help. So what we've done is we have created a form to really gather special events that you may be planning. You or a community organization, you may be planning some sort of event, whether it's private for you and your friends in your backyard. Maybe you're going to be able to have the day off and you're going to barbecue, have some friends over, and you're all going to have solar eclipse classes, right? And you're going to be listening to our awesome radio station. So what we'd like to do is we have a form on our website, and again, the Solar Eclipse website is killeentexas.gov/eclipse. When you go there, there's this watch party form, and this watch party form really asks information from you. So is it a public event? Is it a private event? Where is it located at? If it's just going to be in your backyard, it asks for that type of information. If it's a private event, we will not be sharing it with others. It'll just be in a closed database. But if it's a public event and you give us further details, we ask for maybe a website, is there registration, where can people go to get more information about it, then it's really free advertisement to you because our amazing Convention and Visitors Bureau will be maintaining a list of that on the website so that you, hopefully you get as many attendees as you can possibly safely have, but also so that visitors who are coming to our area are able to plan their trip better. They may be wanting to know where some viewing parties are or where some events are. We don't expect people to just show up on Monday and leave on Monday. We're expecting to get here Thursday, Friday before. So they're going to be looking for some fun things to do in Killeen that weekend. So if you're planning any of those things, please consider going to this form, again, on our website, to fill that out. And other than that, that was all I had.
So we really do want to push that. Text if you can, call if you must. Text if you can, call if you must on that day because of the wireless network. So please, please remember that. Excuse me. So next up, does anyone know what this word means? Raise your hand, raise your hand. It's not a bad word. Someone may call you that word, but it's not a bad word. So it is a person who chases eclipses. So that's what that means. And when we talk about the population doubling, that's who it's going to be. Those type of people from all over the world who are chasing eclipses from city to city to make sure they can witness it over and over and over again. So that is what that means, and that is why our population is going to be doubling. So it brings me to this. We did talk about how this is not just a one-day event, but the population size will increase for the days leading up to and possibly the day afterwards as well. So expect those, don't just focus on April 8th because this is something that's going to affect several days of your life. So our city is going to feel those effects, and now I want to bring up our Killeen Civic and Conference Center director, and that is Miss Amanda Wilkerson, and she's going to be followed by Miss Tanita Mullen, who's going to talk about, she's with our Convention and Visitors Bureau, and she's going to talk about the tourism side of things. But we do have the most hotels in Central Texas, but they're already filled up, so she's going to talk about that.
Excuse me. Hi. So Killeen has 2,500 rooms and 43 hotels across the city, and all brand hotels are at capacity. The average price for rooms is going to be $300 a night, going for as much as $900. If you have family members traveling into the area, please go. We suggest that you plan early. So please go to visitkilleen.com/solareclipse for lodging, dining, and eclipse updates. Thank you.
Okay, so we talked a lot about how much the city was going to double. I know y'all have that before this event is over. So with that being said, the city is going to double. We're going to have a ton of visitors, and we're super excited about that. But what does that mean for you, the people who already live here and work here? We have an option. There's an option, and that is to celebrate solar at home. So you can stay at home. You can host your own watch party, maybe get some solar eclipse themed decorations, pick up glasses at a couple of locations that we'll talk about during this event, and then gather your neighbors, gather your friends. Make this an event, make it something special on the day of April 8th. CTC has a radio station where they'll be live broadcasting, kind of a play-by-play of the eclipse. That's really cool. That's 91.3 FM. And then we at the Bureau have a solar eclipse, Celebrate Solar playlist, and so we put some songs together for you to jam with your friends in your solar eclipse glasses. Those are a couple of things that you can do, and the goal here is to make sure that you enjoy this event, that you can remember this event, and that you're not fighting traffic or trying to head to the store and fighting crowds. We want to make sure our visitors have a good experience, but it's also important that you do as well. And so having a party at home can help you achieve that goal. And then finally, we want to make sure that we don't stress our emergency management systems too much. They'll all be 100% full, 100% busy. And so if we can stay at home and have parties and enjoy our families and friends in the safety of our own home, it'll actually help those teams a ton. Then we also have some a flyer that you'll see probably after this event on some of our social media channels. We'll probably have some printed at the Bureau as well. And it's just a recap of what I just said. So if you see this flyer on our socials, share it with your friends, give them some ideas on how they can enjoy this event at home. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, if you want to have a good time, you can just do it in your backyard or on your block as well, and stay off the roads would be a great idea. So KISD, we have this on our website, the KillingTexas.gov/Eclipse. We have this on there, so KISD has informed us in the community that they will be closed on that day, April 8th, it's a Monday, and Fort Cavazos has informed us that they will have that as a training holiday, essential personnel only. So two of our biggest entities will not be open on that day, which, should be able to help a little bit. So we talked about preparedness. We're going to get a little bit into the events before, again, we bring up the awesome CTC folks who are going to talk about what they have planned with their planetarium and everything. So Parks and Rec is going to have a laser light show. It's going to be on Saturday, April 6th. It's going to be at the Lions Club Park Family Recreation Center, right outside of it. It's going to begin at sunset, so I can't give an exact time right now, but once it's dark. And it's about 10 to 20 minutes long, and that is, again, on Saturday, April 6th, so right before the big day on April 8th. And then the library has some things going on, and these are informational sessions that will be in March. The entire month of March, they have 6 different sessions, and actually on 2 of the days, they're going to have a morning and an afternoon session. These are about 30 minutes, and they're for teens, they're for adults, and you have to attend one of these sessions if you want a pair of solar eclipse glasses. You have to attend the entire program. Excuse me. There's several different times that they have. I have everything listed on our website, the cleantexas.gov/solar eclipse, because there's a lot of times I don't want you to have to cross your eyes and squint to look at everything. But if you go to that website, you will be able to see all the offerings for that. Again, those are all Saturdays, I believe some Fridays as well, where you can get some information about the solar eclipse, but you have to attend that program in order to get a pair of the solar eclipse shades. And I don't believe that Killeen Civic and Conference Center got to mention it, the solar eclipse glasses giveaway. So you can attend. They're going to put out some information about attending the Killeen Civic, just going to the Killeen Civic and Conference Center to pick up some shades while supplies last. So we'll put out the dates for that, and you can just come and you can pick them up. I don't know if it's going to be one pair per person. Is that, okay, so 1 pair per person. You can't come and just grab up 20 of them to take to your friends and family, unfortunately, but bring them out with you so they can each get their own. But they will be free. There are going to be places around that are selling those, but we are going to give out free ones while they last. If you have not picked up any tonight, please make sure you come up front. We have some on both sides. You pick up 1 pair per person, again, while supplies last. So that is the information about the library. We are going to now get to the fun part. I'm going to bring up CTC, Central Texas College, to discuss their events, the planetarium manager, Angelica Spruce.
Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are excited. We are so excited to be partnered with the city for this event. We get to be part of history, us as a community, which is a phenomenal thing. So I'm going to talk to you just about the events that we have going on at CTC. You'll see them up here on your projectors as well. So on the first one, it's not up there. We are starting our event on Friday, April 5th. We will open at 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., but we will only be playing our planetarium regular shows. Then on Saturday, April 6th, we'll open at 11 a.m. and be open until 8 p.m. And between about 12 and 3 to 4 p.m., we're expecting to have 3 NASA speakers, and Mr. Warren Hart, our resident astronomer, will also be there for that day. Saturday, to be announced, we are expecting to have a watch party of our own on the sky deck, or sorry, not a watch party, a stargazing event on April 6th. The time, we're not too sure yet, but those will be tables where you can buy a seat at. They will come with a whole VIP package and a dinner and everything. More details to come, though. And then Sunday, April 7th, also pretty much the same as Saturday, 11 a.m. until 8 p.m. And then about 12 p.m. to 3 p.m., we will have our NASA speakers and Warren Hart. We potentially will do crafts and activities on that Saturday and Sunday if we get enough volunteers. And then, of course, the big event that everybody's waiting for, April 8th, we will be opening at 8 a.m. for vendors and our shows. So we will be selling merchandise and glasses, solar eclipse glasses those days as well. But we are also opening our campus to public parking and paid parking. Those details are also to be announced. So I'll give you our website at the end here. At 11:30, our last show will end, and we will go to the viewing space at CTC to watch the historic event. Then at 3:30, we will begin our shows again until probably about 5:30 or 6:30. Warren will get into it more, but we expect to watch the entire watch party is about 12:15 until about 2:45, I believe, 2:46. So you'll have partials and then the total and then the partial again. We are not announcing our NASA speakers just yet, but we will have meteorologist Bill Hecky and then astronomer Warren Hart. And for vendors, if you guys are businesses or if you know any business owners, we will be opening our vendor slots potentially January 5th. The vendor registration will all be on our Eclipse website, which, if you add us on Mayborn Science Theater for Facebook, we'll post the website as soon as we have the registration form up for that. We're looking for food truck vendors, craft and specialty vendors, promotional vendors, anything like that. And then our solar eclipse glasses will be on sale again the first week of January, $3 each. And then that's it for us.
Thank you so much. Before we wrap it up and start with questions, any audience questions, you'll be able to come right here and ask. I just want to mention just a few things. One is that just like our city's been meeting to discuss this for over a year, other Central Texas cities, they have as well, and Bell County has. They're working on a plan that includes a possible disaster declaration just in case federal assistance is needed. Bell County is also working with TxDOT to help with getting the message across the highways on any of the digital billboards and things like that to remind people and to put the message that Peter talked about not stopping on the highways. Or not texting and not calling and also not stopping on the highways. And please ensure that citizens are not bombarding their cell phone providers about any issues because you now are aware that there may be some issues and it's not just you that's experiencing this, so you don't have to call your cell phone providers. Bell County is pushing for some additional measures that they are going to announce later. Once that's confirmed, they're still continuing meetings. And we also talked about emergency and first responder calls already. So I am going to now open the floor for any questions. If you do have a question, remember we are recording this, so you do have to get out of your seat and come to the microphone so you are audible to everyone. It's not live stream, but we are recording it, and we want to make sure that you are heard because whatever question you ask, there's probably someone else who has that question who's watching. So I'll give you a moment if you have any questions. We do have our police or our fire chief here, Mr. Chief Kabinski, if you have anything that he can answer. We have our Parks and Rec director here, executive director. And of course, if you have any technical questions and science questions for the smart people, we have Mr. Warren Hart here who can answer any questions. He's our astronomer. Anything? Were we that good? Yes, sir.
I guess I'll start this off.
Thank you.
A reference to parking, has the city has a map drawn up of the places that this will be off limit for parking? Second part of the question is there a people like, for instance, they park along the highway there, are there certain areas lined off where the police says no parking? What has the city done reference to the parking area, basically what I'm asking?
Great question. I'm going to call up Mr. Peter Perez. Who can assist with that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the city currently has an ordinance on, that you cannot park on unimproved surfaces, which is basically like concrete or asphalt. And it's also kind of an environmental regulation. So as we said, the city's offices will respond to calls and prioritize them as normal. It's just expected that if we have increased calls, the staff don't magically increase. They're still the set staff that we have. So they'll try their best to respond to everything as quickly as possible. Same with parking along, the highways and roadways. We do ask people not to do that. And it's not something that's important for people to know. And I don't think any of our community members are going to do it. It's probably really going to be our visitors who should hear this message. But it's not just a traffic motor vehicle accident type of hazard, but it's also if there's tall grass in April and your car is there and it's on and the muffler gets hot, and now we have a wildfire at the same time. So, so we do ask people not to do that. Please pull over, find a parking lot. We have plenty of parking lots here in Killeen, so please pull over and park in a parking lot. But again, 911 will be answering phone calls and prioritizing those calls as normal, and so people will be responding to those calls as they can.
Partially, but we'll wait later on. Because that's going to be a hell of a problem.
Yes, sir. Any other questions? All right, come on up.
Good evening.
Hi.
Just a quick question. Does the street lights, where we have street lights, do they automatically come on when it goes dark? And will that impact the viewing of the solar eclipse? You understand what I'm asking?
Automatic.
Yeah. So when the sun goes down,
Because it's Encore, we would have to ask, right?
No, our traffic knows, our streets knows, and we did ask before, I just forgot.
Okay. All right. We can get your information and we can let you know, and we can put that actually in our FAQs. We have a frequently asked questions portion on our website, and we can add that on there as well.
okay, very good. And the other question I had was for businesses who have parking spaces that would potentially want to rent their spaces out, and they already are approved business and they already have approved parking, do they need any special permits to increase the parking in their space, or how is that working?
Okay. I'm going to have Mr. Perez.
So again, there's a city ordinance about where you can park, but there's also a city ordinance about paid parking as well. So I can't recall it correctly, but it is on our website if you look at our ordinances. I want to say that basically in residential zoned areas, you cannot charge for parking in masses like that. But to the real question is, if a business owner in like a strip mall owns that property, I would say does not rent it, but owns the property, then most likely that could be something they do if they look at the ordinance and they're clear through the ordinance to do that. There's not an increased permit that you have to come through the city to do at this time.
Okay, all right. And then the last question about your website, the little ad that you showed at the beginning. If we are planning events, can we is your stuff available for us to use, like the advertisement, the maps, and the little video that we can promote, what's going on here in Killeen? Can we share it on our websites as well, is what I'm asking.
You just want to share the cleantexas.gov/eclipse?
Yeah, and the little video that you showed at the beginning. with
Oh, the video. Yeah, we can add that
any-
video to our website. We don't have it on there currently, but we
Okay.
can add that.
Okay, okay.
Sure.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Bear, you got a question?
Not yet.
You sure? All right.
Hello, my name's Joyce Hodson. I currently work for the Killeen Independent School District. This is my partner, Tammy Young. business owner in Killeen. We don't have a lot of questions because you covered a lot of things today, which is, we're very glad that we came to get all the information. We are going to be having a pre-event on Thursday, April 4th. And we're working, already reserved our space with the Killeen Civic and Conference Center. And we are going to have an event for 1st through 6th graders to teach them how to view the eclipse safely, and also to prepare them with science and fun experiences and experiments prior to the event. So I was glad to hear about the form that we can fill out, and then you will help advertise that for us. Is it through the library, or who helps advertise the events?
Our office will advertise we're just going to let people know, hey, here's what's on our website and here's where you can find the information. So we may not specifically advertise every single event, but we'll say this is where the information is if you like to find it. We will only publicize our CTC's events and some of our community partners like KIC, but not every single
Okay,
event.
because I
So
thought I
yes.
heard, and maybe it was Tanika that said that anything that's happening at the Killeen Civic and Conference Center, or not?
And that will be on the Killeen Civic and Conference Center site, yes.
Our CVB site. So we have a bureau site, and if you fill out that form, we will filter it, and we will have a space for public events.
Okay, so is it separate than the form that's on, is your form
It is
separate
the
than
same form, it's just that the CVB will actually have it listed out by detail, and we will just have, hey, here's where you go for the information.
Okay, yeah, so we learned a lot. I like the phrase that you used, that they can celebrate solar safely at home, because I know Killeen ISD is also
Pushing that
that,
message, yep.
so that people will be safe. But we're just excited that we're going to be able to offer this prior to some of the other things to get the students prepared so that they can do it. And we really look forward to partnering with you and with the city and with CTC. And we want to know who your special NASA people are. So it was a good fact-finding experience for us today, and we just want to make sure that we connect and that you're aware of us, that we're going to be doing a special event that day. And if anybody's listening to this and wants to be a vendor, let us know. Opportunities to network to children and their parents. Pre-solar event.
Awesome, thank you.
So it's going to be on Thursday. It's going to be on 4/4/24, so it's on Thursday. It's going to be from 5:30 to 8 p.m. We're going to have a child-friendly, solar-themed dinner, so a dinner will be provided. There will be what we call solar stations that happen around the room. The children go to each of the different stations to learn science experiments, to learn how to view safely. There'll be photo stations. We are expecting to have a special speaker. We can't announce that yet. So hopefully we'll be able to, but it is geared to 1st through 6th grade children and their adult. It will be a paying event. They'll need to purchase. So all of that's to be announced.
Okay. And I know you said you're going to complete the permit form, but can you also just email it to me as well, the 5 Ws? And
Yes.
just so we have that as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, yes, sir. Going to bring up Chief Kabinski, Fire Chief.
Good evening, everybody. I'm just going to circle back to those two questions that were asked. First, about the parking. I've been in communication with Chief Lopez. In the city side of things, police officers will be patrolling. One of the things both fire and EMS have done is canceled vacations for that day. So those allotted slots that would end up in reduced numbers of staffing, we're going to have more people on the street, both on the fire and the police side, which should help handle those call volumes. Not to take away from what Mr. Perez said about prioritizing calls. So if something of a higher priority comes in, we're going to respond to that first. In addition, DPS and TxDOT have both given their commitment that they are going to be up and down I-14, enforcing people not stopping on the side of those roadways to ensure safety as well, because they understand that that's a safety hazard. So those conversations have taken place, and we are staying on top of that as best as we can without knowing where the emergencies are going to happen or how many priority types of calls are going to be higher than somebody stopped on the side of the road. The second piece about additional parking, if you want to add parking spaces, we have to keep in mind that you would have to petition for that piece, so you don't need a permit to hold a special event, but those parking spaces are numbered out and specially designed for capacity for your building. So, and the other part I'm a little partial to is fire lanes. So if you start to fill up fire lanes with extra spots to generate revenue, that becomes a public safety hazard. So to increase the number of spots that are already allotted, you would have to have a special request put in. But again, your events for those businesses do not have to be permitted. So I just wanted to circle back on answering those two questions, close up that loop.
Thanks. And Mr. Ronnie Russell, I haven't forgotten about you. Would you like to come up and talk about what you guys have going on?
Good evening. My name is Ronnie Russell, president of the Innovation Black Chamber of Commerce, and we have a phenomenal event coming up. The name of the event is Culture on the Square. Culture on the Square is celebrating the diversity in this area. We're already in contact and conversations with LULAC, bringing LULAC in, as well as the Mauna Kea in as well. This event is sponsored by PNC Bank, also sponsored by the Killeen Visitors Bureau, as well as Walmart. To find this event, all you got to do is go to the Eventbrite page, type in Culture on the Square, and then that event will pop up. This is a free event at no cost to you, no cost to your family, no cost to your friends, no cost to your dog. Whatever it is, bring everybody out for this event. And this event is going to start at 11 o'clock. Culture on the Square is a jamboree created for safe and fun space for Eclipse travelers and local families. Just like the Visitor Bureau always going to say, we're looking to bring people into the city. The people are automatically coming into the city, so let's give them something to do. The small business community is a community that always trying to find ways to raise and create revenue for themselves. This event right here is a revenue generating event for the small businesses that would like to get their piece of the pie in this economic impact. This is like a stimulus package for small businesses. So for small businesses that are out there, just like Mr. Perez has stated, ensure that you look at the inventory that you have, order ahead of time, think about what you're doing, make sure all your systems, plans, and operations and all that stuff is taken care of. When you go on the Eventbrite site, there is a tab that you can click for the vendors to go sign up. So the Eventbrite is for people to register, because what we want is a head count, because everything is dealing with data. So what we want is a head count to know how many people is coming into the building. Then we push all that information out. So the Visitors Bureau does have a head count of everybody that came. As well as if you go to the Innovation Black Chamber of Commerce website, we have members that are also doing Eclipse events as well. So go on that, go on the website, go to the event tab, and you'll see a lot of other events that other chamber members are doing. So definitely thank our sponsors again, PNC Bank for coming on board, the Killeen Visitors Bureau for coming on board, as well as Walmart. So if you want to come out and celebrate as a community, make sure you're there on the 7th, which is a Sunday. We've also sat with Dr. Fry with bringing KISD on board. So once that is solidified and KISD is in the room, then we have a full access of culture inside of one space under one umbrella, doing one thing: safe, family, fun environment. Thank you.
Thank you. I know he mentioned LULAC. For those who aren't familiar, that's the League of Latin American Citizens. Yes. And KISD Superintendent Dr. Fay. Fay, yes. Okay. I just wanted to clarify that for the video and for the audience in case you guys are wondering. Yes, sir. You've been waiting patiently.
Yes. I live at Copper's Cove, and one of the things in the meetings there, they've encouraged, if you have private business and you're selling parking spaces, you want to consider a Santa can. Bathroom facilities are going to be a major part of all of this. And warning that if you have a church or any open space, they're going to park in it. And so if you don't want parking, you're going to have to secure that in some way. Their research of communities the size of Cove, that have done this, it takes 2 to 4 hours for people to get out of town. Thank you.
Correct. Thank you. No, great information. I know that's been in the discussions that the Bell County Emergency Management has had, as well as our own. So good points. Any other questions? They brought up, in cities similar to our size where it may take you 30 minutes to get somewhere, it may be 4 to 5 hours to take you to get to somewhere. So just a heads up. Anything else? Anything else? Going once? Going twice? We're here. If you have any questions, it's not like this is your last chance to ask those. You can call us. You can email us. We're very easy to find online. My office is right across the hall. If I don't have the answer, I will find it for you. I will pull up Peter just like I've been doing from wherever he is if I don't know. So, all right. So I'm going to just close out now. April 8th, 2024 is going to be an historic moment in our city. It may seem like, measly 256 seconds, but scientists say what you will observe will literally give you chills. So this is going to be very momentous, and make sure you are there to witness it. We hope everyone will be able to have this magical experience. So I want to thank everyone for taking the time out to come out on a Monday evening. I know it's a lot of stuff going on right now, and just want to remind you to go to our KileenTexas.gov/Eclipse website if you have any questions. And that is it. Mr. Francisco, can you run that video again? I just like it. But you guys are, I'm sorry. If you'd like to, you can, sir. Yeah, sure. It was just, I didn't know if people were going to have those technical questions for you, and you were going to have to break it down for us, because I know I can't. Come on up, come on up.
Warren Hart over at Central Texas College for the astronomy, and where the fellow was talking about getting groceries and all. What we fail to understand too is that from the research on previous total solar eclipses, these umbrophiles, and umbra is the Latin term for complete cover, that they have the money that they will go anywhere in the world to a country that they want to go to and observe a total solar eclipse. Some will plan to come 3-5 days or something ahead of time to be here, stay through the weekend, stay through the eclipse, and then as quickly as possible leave. There are some others who will plan to come probably the early part of the weekend, and then they are going to stay afterward. And so you can expect more than just prior to the eclipse. You're going to have people still here after the eclipse. So your suggestion about stocking up on food is very important, but I would extend it a little bit further and consider that maybe 4 or 5 days ahead of the eclipse weekend, and have enough to last for 4 or 5 days after the eclipse, because we don't know until they get here who's leaving early and who's staying on, because they've spent their money getting here and they've never been here, and their question is, well, what have you got? What else do you have that we can go to see and do? Then that's where the ones come early are going to do that, and then the ones that come later or stay later, they're going to be interested also. So just as a reminder or a thing to think about, it's not just prior to the eclipse, it's the eclipse and plus afterwards. There may not be as many that want to stay afterward in there, but we don't know. And also, Killeen School District, where are you still here. A suggestion, maybe you've already thought about it, for finding another school district that is going to be outside of the path. Consider contacting them, and as a gift or a fun coordinated thing, have them bring their school buses with kids and adults from there, and you could share that, this great event there, because they're going to recognize probably that they know they're outside the total path, and probably even outside the partial path. So on this. The other thing is, was talking about do not look through or study or look at the sun at any time prior to the total, when everything is covered. What you will see and what will be expected is on the ring for the outline of the moon, that was discovered that there's mountains on the moon and valleys. So this scientist, this astronomer, figured that out, and so what will happen as the moon comes across, it will get a large proportion of it covered, but at the very last, at different places around on there, we are still looking at a valley. This is a mountain and a mountain on the moon. There's a valley and the sun is still poking through. And just for the name of it, it's called Bailey's Beads. And that was the astronomer that figured that out. And so you have to wait until the last speck of light is covered by the moon. Because any amount of light from the sun we'll just say, is not good to look at. And we were talking also that if somebody decides they want to look at the sun without any glasses or covering, that'll be the last time they're going to look, because they will ruin their eyes, and more than likely, if they've done it too long, they will then, from then on, be permanently blind. Period. Okay? So, questions? Anyone have questions as far as the astronomy part for the eclipse? If not, that's all right. I purchased this. It's on the total solar eclipse for 2024, and it's got good information in here. A lot of it, some of us may not be interested in, but it's got the map. It tells different things, and also in the back there's a lot of information that you can get to get some other things about the total eclipse. If you are interested, I'll stay around and you can just come up and take a picture here of the book, and then you can get you a copy for yourself. Okay? We will have fun, and it will be exciting. And so you want to stock up on your food, your water, your gasoline, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else that you're going to need. Plan for probably something like a whole week you're going to be restricted in getting around, which is okay. Okay? All right. Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you.
Thank you so much, sir. I apologize for skipping you. Let's have Councilman Moore. You have a question, or you want to come up here?
Question.
Good evening, everyone. Glad to have everyone here, and thank you to the team for working to plan and support this event. This is a question, I'm not sure if it's been looked over or not. A lot of folks coming here are likely going to bring drones to fly. I know an emergency management fire department going to need to have access to theirs during that time. Have we talked to the FAA about a TFR, temporary flight restriction, during that time period to prevent these thousands of folks from putting drones in there at that time? I fly them as well, and that came to mind, and that would be a disaster and interfere on folks' opportunity to enjoy the Eclipse.
Yes, so we have had those conversations with the FAA and obviously our own airport because they're kind of our connection to FAA. It is not a major concern that they have because the majority of people will already be restricted, primarily just because of Fort Cavazos' flight restricted area. So it's already pretty difficult if you start getting near areas of town that are close to Fort Cavazos to put a drone in the air. The other thing is that the FAA regulations for drones are primarily, for some reason, more on governmental agencies, not on private people. So, like for our government agencies, both in the fire marshal's office and also in police, they have to have licenses, they have to go through training, they have to do all those things. Technically, on the civilian side, on the non-governmental side, you don't have to do that. You can go buy a drone, just put it up in the air. In most places, not near military installations. So we kind of have the military installation helping us on that side, and the fact that they already have a drone surveillance program. It's something that military already trains to all over the country, not just ours, everyone's. And so that's kind of something that they're already prepared for, so that if they get into areas that they're not supposed to be. But as far as being over general public, things like that, there's not much that the FAA has really left local government agencies up to being able to do.
Right.
So we would expect those people to primarily find parking spots or large parking areas, probably also going out to our great large parks and doing things of that sort there. I do know that there's a really avid, and I hope I'm allowed to do this, I know there's a really great drone person in town because after almost like every snow, winter event, like even when we had a high wind event earlier this year, and I think it is that he was posting pictures on Facebook in a group that I follow, and they were really great shots. So I know I've reached out and been like, can I have these photos for our disaster file? Because they're really, he goes and is like, oh, look, you can kind of see a trail of wind through this grass and through this tree and that. So he does really great work, and he also seems like he's very well trained just in the videos that he's making about, for other drone operators to be safe as well.
Sure. I know that gentleman.
Okay. I don't know him by name. I'm not going to lie. I've never seen him before in my life. Just communicated online. But the pictures that the drone took were great during the winter storm Uri. We asked him if there were a couple of those we could save, and we've credited them in the file with him. So we've even passed those on to FEMA when we did our disaster reimbursement process to let them know, here's some footage for you, and here's the person who made that.
Gotcha.
So
thank you for the information. I appreciate it.
you're welcome.
Thank you. We do have 23 parks in our city, if you were not aware, and we'll have some announcements about their plans from Parks and Rec in the coming months, but just keep that in mind. There's a lot of space here. If you have not received glasses, before I close it out again, please make sure you come get one pair for yourself and keep them safe until April 8th, because it is a few months out. So we don't want you to lose them or damage them, but we do want you to go ahead and get a pair and be prepared. All right, oh, yes, ma'am, can you come to the microphone, please? Or we can bring it to you, only because we have to have audio. We have to be able to hear you.
You'll hear me.
Well, they're not going to hear you. We're recording it, so they're not going to hear you.
Next meeting is.
When is the next meeting? We do not have a date scheduled for it, an exact date, but we do plan on putting out more information through either a town hall or a press conference. So we will publicize that, but we don't have an exact date right now. But good question. Thank you so much. All right. Francisco, can you play us out? Everyone is dismissed if you like to go home, but we were going to play the video again for those who may have missed it in the beginning.
Yes,